I didn't tell the police what I really saw at the crime scene, and I don't know if that makes me wrong. I never thought a single night could ruin my entire sense of right and wrong. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and 2 months ago, I was the first person to arrive at a crime scene. That sentence alone still makes my hands shake. It was around 11:40 p.m. when I heard screaming from the apartment across the hall. At first, I froze. In my building, you don't open doors late at night unless you're sure. But then I heard a loud crash, like furniture being thrown, followed by complete silence. I called 911. When I opened my door, the hallway smelled metallic. I didn't know it at the time, but that was blood. The door across the hall was slightly open. Inside, the living room was destroyed. A lamp shattered, a chair flipped over, and on the floor was my neighbor, Daniel. He wasn't moving. I panicked. I didn't touch anything. I just stood there until the police arrived. Here's where it gets complicated. Earlier that evening, I had seen Daniel arguing with someone in the parking lot. A woman. She was crying. He was yelling. I couldn't hear the words, but I clearly saw her shove him before driving off. That woman was his wife. When the police questioned me, they asked the obvious question. Did you see or hear anything unusual tonight? I told them about the noise. I told them about the scream, but I didn't mention the argument. At the time, I told myself it didn't matter. Couples fight all the time. I didn't want to accuse someone of murder just because of a heated argument. The next day, I found out Daniel was dead. Not unconscious. Dead. Blunt force trauma. The police came back. They asked again if I had noticed anything earlier that day. This time, the pressure was heavier. They were clearly looking for a suspect. I still didn't say anything. Why? Because 2 years ago, I was falsely accused in a workplace incident that nearly destroyed my life. Nothing criminal, but the experience taught me how quickly assumptions turn into permanent damage. I promised myself I would never jump to conclusions about anyone again. But now, the guilt is eating me alive. A week later, I overheard 2 officers in the hallway. They said they were lacking a clear lead. Daniel's wife had an alibi. No charges, no arrest. That's when I started wondering if my silence mattered more than I wanted to admit. I didn't lie, but I didn't tell the full truth either. Some of my friends say I did the right thing, that the police didn't ask directly about earlier arguments, that if it was important, they would have found it without me. Others say I'm selfish, that withholding information in a murder investigation is morally wrong, even if I was scared of being wrong. One friend said something that hasn't left my head. If the roles were reversed, wouldn't you want someone to speak up? I still see the crime scene when I close my eyes. The overturned chair, the silence, the moment where I chose caution over clarity. The case is still open. I haven't gone back to the police. I don't even know if my information would change anything now, but I do know that every time I hear footsteps in the hallway, my chest tightens. So here's my question, and I genuinely want honest opinions. Am I the asshole for not telling the police everything I saw, even if I wasn't sure it meant anything?